Hey guys, welcome back to the channel again. My name's Reese, and today we're talking about debt. Now, debt is that silent killer of your dreams of financial freedom and excess. As your debt grows, it puts a crimp on your monthly budget as you have to pay more and more interest on that debt. And as your debt grows, it seems to get easier and easier to get more debt and harder to get out of debt. The more debt you have, the more monthly interest you have on your payments, the tighter your budget becomes, and the less money you have to make payments on that debt. And sadly, this is the situation the average American finds themselves in, with the average American having $38,000 in personal debt, not including mortgages. And unfortunately, this isn't just a few American households that have the majority of the debt, raising that $38,000 number so high. As of 2018, there were only 23% of Americans that carried no debt. In this video, I'm going to show you how to pay off bad debt quickly and remove some of that financial stress from your life, as well as open up your budget to save more money and invest more money because you'll be debt-free and not throwing money away at that interest. So if that sounds good to you guys, please hit the like button on this video. And while you're at it, if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel as well. I love bringing you guys real estate and personal finance related videos 2 times a week. Okay, so before we really dive into how to pay off your debt faster, we really need to understand that unless you're Dave Ramsey, there's good debt and then there's bad debt. Good debt is usually, but not always, secured debt, and it should also have a very low interest rate, usually less than 4 or 5%, and it should not be very highly leveraged. And the most notable examples that most families in America have are a mortgage on their home and, say, an auto loan. Now, good debt is debt that makes or saves you money. And you might be thinking to yourself right now, well, Reese, I understand why a home loan is good debt because it makes buying a home available to the average person and they can save money by not paying rent. However, why could an auto loan also be considered good debt? Well, for example, let's say you buy a $20,000 car, you put down $5,000 on the car, and then you get a loan for 15% at, let's say, 3.5% interest. So for this example, let's say you could have put down 100% of the purchase price and avoided debt altogether. However, because you took a loan of $15,000 against this car, that $15,000 is now available to you to invest in, say, the stock market, or in this example, we'll use that $15,000 to put towards a down payment on a rental property. And now that you've invested that $15,000 into a rental property, that property provides a 15% return on your investment, which is not unrealistic at all for real estate. Therefore, by taking advantage of this loan against your car, you kept money available to put into another investment to net you 12.5% on your money. That 15% you're earning by owning the rental property minus the 3.5% you're paying on the loan. And this same idea can be spread across multiple situations. That's why most rental property investors highly recommend you don't pay cash for rental property even if you can, because that money can be spread out through multiple investments and earn a higher return than you're paying on the debt that you borrow. However, as all of us should know, not all debt is good debt, and too much good debt is also bad debt. Student loans, credit card debt, and excess personal loans are just crippling Americans today. Credit card debt can easily exceed interest rates of 20%, and personal loans, if not kept in check and negotiated, can creep up into the double-digit interest as well, 10 to 12% or even higher. So the very first step to paying off your debt is to first break down and categorize your debt. It's time to bust out the handy Excel document and break down your different debt sources, organize them, and start to understand the debt you have. And this is because we really need to know what kind of debt we have and the interest on that debt before we can really create a plan of attack to pay down that debt. So in this Excel document, compile a list of all your credit cards you hold balances on, your personal loans, your student loans, and any other sources of debt that you have. Say you have an auto loan, but you're not using that money to earn more money for you, you should still pay off that loan because you're not taking advantage of making more money with that debt. And so in this spreadsheet, we want the total remaining balances on all of these sources of debt, as well as the interest rate on them. This is a tough first step because it's so easy to have all your debt out of sight, out of mind. However, by compiling them all into one spreadsheet and seeing the interest you're paying monthly on these sources of debt, it can be disheartening. However, this should also be motivating because let's say you have $500 a month you're paying in interest only on these sources of debt. When you pay off all this debt, you'll have $500 a month extra to start investing and growing your wealth. Now, step 2 is to increase your savings. It's extremely important to get a budget in order and start following it strictly and consistently. I highly recommend you watch one of my previous videos on how to save 50% of your income. I'll leave this linked in the description below, as well as throw a card up here for you guys. And please don't let the title of that video discourage you. I'm well aware that saving 50% of your income is a stretch goal for most people. It's not possible now, but it's something to work towards. However, there are some great tips in that video on how to build a budget and reduce your expenses as low as possible, making more of your income available to start paying off this debt with. It's super important to get serious here on lowering your budget. The more you can reduce your expenses, the faster you can pay down your debt, and this is really exponential. As you pay down debt, you start to pay less interest on that debt. As you pay less interest, more of your monthly payment is going to paying down principal, which in turn, once again, lowers the interest, and so on and so forth. It's really exponential. And so the more money you can start throwing at paying down your debt now, the sooner you'll be out of debt. However, before we really start throwing money at this debt, the fastest way to reduce your debt is to reduce your interest you're paying on that debt. And that's done in step 3, which is debt consolidation and potentially refinance. Now, this is a great hack per se to pay off debt faster. However, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, I said that. A lot of credit cards have a 0% APR introductory rate for 12 to 18 months and allow balance transfers from other credit cards for a fee. Now, usually paying this fee, depending on how much debt you have on a credit card, is well worth it to transfer a balance from a credit card charging you, say, 18% interest to a credit card that's charging you 0. However, you really have to be responsible here, because by opening up one credit card, by transferring the balance, you'll set yourself so much farther back by then spending more money on that card. You really need to take that card, throw it in your safe, lock it away, don't think about it, don't use it. By transferring balances over to these introductory 0% interest cards, you're giving yourself a long runway to start paying off debt so fast because you're not paying interest. However, keep in mind and read the fine print on these cards, because some of these cards, if the balance transferred isn't paid off in that 12 to 18 month introductory period, then they'll charge you interest all the way back to the date of the balance transfer, pretty much negating the whole point of the balance transfer in the first place. So if a card does have that fine print, only transfer an amount over that you'll be able to pay off within the introductory period. Now, you can also consider consolidating all your debt from credit cards, auto loans, personal loans into one low interest personal loan. So for example, let's say you have 3 credit cards with balances on them that are all charging you 20% interest. That is super detrimental. And so what we can do is take out a personal loan at, say, 7% interest to pay off that high interest credit card debt. Any money we can save on interest payments is money back in your pocket that can be used to pay off more principal. And so that's why this step is so important. And you should really spend time trying to get the best interest rates and trying to lower every source of debt that you categorized in that Excel document. Get the interest rate on that debt as low as possible. Now, obviously, throughout these first 3 steps, you've been paying the monthly payments on this debt. However, step 4 is really where we hit the ground running and start paying off debt fast. There are 2 really popular methods with how to pay off debt quickly. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, but I'll touch on these 2 methods. You have the snowball method, made popular by Dave Ramsey, and you have the avalanche method. Now, both of these methods are really only useful if you have multiple sources of debt. So, if you refinance that debt into a personal loan and combine them all into one low interest loan, then you can really just start pushing all your extra money onto this one loan and pay that off quickly. However, if you were not able to combine and consolidate debt, that's where these 2 methods come in. The snowball method means we're going to pay off your accounts with the smallest balances first and pay those off completely before moving all the way up the chain to your highest balance. The idea behind this method is for you to experience small wins and therefore stay motivated to continue budgeting, continue saving hard, and putting all that excess money towards paying down more debt. The only real issue with this method is that you're going to pay a little bit more in interest versus the avalanche method. However, if you think your biggest issue in paying down debt is just staying consistent and motivated, the snowball method is definitely for you. Now, the avalanche method means you're going to pay off the loans with the highest interest rate first and work your way down to the lowest interest rate. And as stated a few moments ago, This will save you money because you're getting rid of that high interest debt first. I recommend you check out the calculator on vertex24.com that compares how much money you'll save when doing avalanche versus snowball. I'll link that website down in the description below in case you guys are interested. And finally, step number 5 is to increase your income. It's time, unfortunately, to rip off the band-aid and get right down to it. You've decreased your spending as low as you can go. You've reduced your debt payments by consolidating debt and lowering the interest rates. However, you're just not saving enough money to pay your debt down fast enough, or you're still negative. If you make only minimum payments on these loans that you have, unfortunately, you'll be paying off this debt for a very long time and paying a ton of interest while doing so. And sadly, the reality is, it's now time to make more money. The more money you can throw at your debt now means the less interest you'll pay and the quicker you'll be out of debt. So therefore, if you can pick up a second job, say driving for Uber or delivering food, that's money that you can put towards paying off your debt faster. It really comes down to your goals and your ambition. Are you okay relaxing a little bit and paying off your debt over the next 10 to 15 years? Or do you really want to hustle now and pay off your debt in the next 3 years and get much closer to your goals of financial freedom sooner rather than later? So with that said, guys, thank you so much to everyone who made it to this point in the video. You're committed to learning and you're well ahead of the rest when it comes to paying off your debt and becoming debt-free and financially free. Please like this video and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you aren't already. If you want to continue learning about real estate and personal finance and go from escaping debt to achieving long-term wealth. So thanks so much, guys. Good luck on your journey and have a great day.